Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. My name is Ron, and today we're going to be talking about the most popular class in Deep Rock Galactic. So, I put up a poll about a week ago. This has currently almost 8,000 votes on it. Thanks everybody for participating. I asked, what is your favorite class and why? I gave you 5 options. There's only 4 classes, but I gave you 5 options, one for each of the classes, and then the last one being all of them. So, based on this chart of everybody who voted, the most popular dwarf is all of them. They're all the most popular dwarf, coming in at 28%. A lot of people really pointed out that all the classes in this game are very well crafted. They all bring something different to the table, and they're all very fun to play. Or maybe people were only playing 2 or 3 of them, and this was the best option for them. So, good work, Ghost Ship Games. You did a great job at making classes that are all super fun to play, and all bring something different to the table. Now, let's talk about the classes individually and which one's got the most votes. Coming in at our number 1 spot at 22%, we had the Engineer class. A lot of people really liked Engineer. They really liked the flexibility of Engineer, all the things that you could do with it. A lot of the overclocks are super fun on Engineer, which I agree. A lot of people just pointed out that Engineer has the best secondaries in the game. I think that's a fair point to be made. Grenade Launcher, Breach Cutter, Shard Diffractor are all amazing options. A lot of people really said they liked the Engineer since the Loki update, where they got a new primary weapon that gave them some long-range abilities. You can tailor an Engineer build to where it's going to work really well. Even if you have a deep dive of 3 very bizarre different missions where you need crowd control, single target damage, and general purpose use, Engineer's a pretty safe choice there because they can do all of that in the same loadout. Coming in as the second and third, I guess, most popular classes, because this is actually a tie, at 19% is Driller and Scout. I was kind of surprised we had a tie in this one. I really didn't think we did. So that obviously means coming in at 4th in the popularity contest is Gunner at 12%. So Gunner is the least popular, at least out of people who voted on this particular one. This doesn't reflect the entire community at all. Well, let's talk about Driller and Scout first, getting the 19%. Driller, a lot of people said super flexible class, a ton of stuff in their base kit, which is very true. Driller has a lot of stuff and a lot of hidden mechanics to learn too. So there's like the most stuff that you can flesh out from them, as well as they do really well on just about every mission too. Your primary weapons, your flamethrower, your cryo cannon, your sludge pump, all fantastic weapons for dealing with crowds. Some of them also pretty good for dealing with big targets, all of them giving their different status effects. Fire is really strong now with the robots, since once you light them on fire they die. Ice is super strong against any of the grunts because you can freeze all of them and just use your pickaxe, get a bunch of free health if you're running vampire. Sludge pump is also really good with its armor breaking and its slowdown, and you can light it on fire, so it's another fire sort of based weapon. Some people just pointed out drills. Drills are super nice to have on Driller too. You can clear through enemies with them really easily. You can break armor with them. They have the fear status effect on them. You can get anywhere you need to go. If you are at the end of a mission, you're pretty much guaranteed to get to the drop pod. And of course, there was some psychos in the comments that just said they like C4 and they like to blow their teammates up, blow themselves up, blow up anything with it. It's also really good for mining too, if you need to mine anything. That's usually what I use it for, but blowing up your teammates or yourself is also an option. Maybe not an advised option, but an option. Driller's secondary is also very weird. Driller probably has the most bizarre weaponry out of all the classes in the game, so it is very unique in that way. Sabata is kind of a basic pistol, but great for clearing up small enemies, great for range, really fun with explosive rounds or trank rounds. The EPC probably has the highest skill ceiling of any of the weapons in the game, where you can mine with this, you can deal high damage with it, you can just use it like a regular plasma pistol, you can use it for charge shots, regular shots, and then you have the new weapon being the wave cooker, which is super fun, great with thermal shock, has some great overclocks too, like the radiation overclock or the blistering necrosis, great for clearing up crowds, clearing up big enemies, has infinite range on it. All those things are quite nice about Driller. Then we come in at 19% with Scout. A lot of people really like Scout, especially the grappling hook. People really like the grappling hook. Which I do too. The grappling hook is probably the best mobility tool, or at least the most fun mobility tool in the game. Maybe drills, you could argue, is the best mobility tool because of all the things that you can do with them. But the grappling hook is just so much fun. And Scout has a lot of fun overclocks in their class too. Maybe the most fun overclocks overall, since you got like Special Powder on your boomstick and Hipster with your M1000. Speaking of weapons, primary weapons, you got the GK2, which some people said is their favorite, but not a whole lot. M1000 Classic, the ping, everybody loves the ping. Hipster's incredible on it. Drac, tons of fun overclocks, lots of high damage, at least to small enemies, even to big enemies with like Overtune Particle Accelerator. lots of build opportunities there. Drac is super cool. Secondaries, you got the boomstick, classic, lots of damage. You can fly with it. You can build it for just massive damage with jumbo shells or whatever it might be. Zukovs can hit extremely hard, especially with the IFGs or with the embedded detonators, or with both. Cryo minelets are great too. You can freeze a bunch of enemies. Really fun there. And crossbow, a lot of people really like the bodkin points, me included. I really like the bodkin points. They're super fun. Oh, and some people did say flare gun too. Flare gun, very useful, very handy. And then let's move on to gunner, which was the least picked. Gunner seemed to be the least picked for probably one reason in particular, it seemed like in the comment section, and that was the zipline gun. A lot of people didn't really like the zipline gun, which, fair, it is probably the worst mobility tool or the least interactive mobility tool. It can be super useful for the team, and it can be really useful on certain missions like Aquark missions, egg hunts, potentially whenever you have a secondary that's you have to actually carry, like gunk seeds. It's useful in all of those, as well as if you just get a map that's one of those just straight up like 5 stories tall or 10 stories tall maps where there's just that's it. You have to go up, just make a spider web down there at least to catch everybody. It's really good then. Outside of that, yeah, it does feel kind of slow. You're not moving really quick as Gunner. You're not getting most of the missions done really quick as Gunner. But people did say that they really liked Gunner for a couple of reasons. One is all the DACA, and 2 is all the Burt. You have a lot of DACA and Burt with Gunner. You have a lot with them. Their weapons are fantastic for clearing up just about everything in the game. If you just want to kill everything, Gunner's a pretty safe bet to go on, as well as you're probably going to be the last one to run out of ammo. A lot of people point out the shield too. Shield, somewhat underrated, I would say. It's probably just one of the best support tools in the game though. You can res people super easy with it. You can keep yourself alive. You can push objectives. You can capture objectives. Whatever it might be, you can push off big bugs. And of course the weapons. Gunner has probably some of the most satisfying weapons to use. Minigun does tons of damage, has a lot of fun overclocks, has some really good ones too, like a little more oomph, super fun ones like Bullet Hell. You got the autocannon, which is just incredible. It takes forever for you to run out of bullets with the autocannon. You do pretty good damage with it, pretty good AoE damage, and pretty good direct damage. You can have fears on it, you can have neurotoxin rounds. Autocannon doesn't have any bad overclocks. All of them are really good. And then you got like the Hurricane, which has some interesting choices. It's super flexible, does high damage at pretty much any range. It has the longest effective range out of the main weapons, I would say, because it is easiest to steer those rockets into enemies even at long range, and has some really strong ones like Jet Fuel Homebrew, the Overtune feeding mechanism, or just fun ones like the Salvo where you have a rocket shotgun. It's also really strong. And then in secondaries, you have really powerful secondaries. The Bulldog Heavy Revolver is a lot of people's go-to. It's essentially just a sniper rifle in your pocket. It picks off a lot of things, and it has really good overclocks too with like volatile bullets, magic bullets, 6-shooter. You have the BRT, the burst pistol, the Burt, high damage, lead spray's awesome. All of its overclocks are pretty good. It actually has pretty long range too if you're not using lead storm or lead spray. And then you got the coil gun now, which has been introduced. You can punch through walls, you can save people from leeches, you can make a Swiss cheese castle with mole and then just one-shot things. That's super fun if you just blow up a detonator with one shot. So yeah, even though Gunner is the least picked class here, it should be important to say that all of this was fairly close, and that people had their own reasons for picking each of the classes, and it is really difficult to pick just one class in here. For me, I would say I enjoy all the dwarfs. I switch between them pretty frequently. If you come to the streams, you know that. I switch between all of them all the time, no matter, just kind of depends on what people want to see, what overclocks maybe they got, or what kind of builds that I run on different things. I think Ghost Ship did an amazing job at just designing all the dwarfs. They're all really fun. They could use maybe a few little tweaks here and there, maybe make the zipline launcher a bit more appealing, maybe change some of the overclocks that are either not super impressive or kind of get beat out by others, and, you know, maybe give us some more cosmetics and stuff, because everybody loves playing dwarf dress up. But all in all, I do have to give credit to Ghost Ship for creating an amazing game and creating some amazing dwarfs. Thanks everybody who participated in this. It was a lot of fun to do. It was really interesting to hear you guys. I plan on doing more polls like this in the future. And again, thanks so much. So you guys take care. Special thanks to the supporters of this channel. These are my members over here on YouTube and my patrons over on Patreon. I hope you guys all have a great rest of your day, and I'll talk to you next time. Bye-bye.